Welcome to the Gulf Coast Fishing Report from Bama Beach Life, hosted by Cactus Jack. Each week we deliver local fishing intelligence, what's biting, where to fish, and how conditions shape the bite across Alabama's Gulf Coast to Pensacola. Turn local knowledge into your next great fishing story. Welcome back to the Gulf Coast Fishing Report. Here's the weekend in one sentence. The fish are giving us options. The weather is somewhat cooperating, and the beach grass is still trying to become a full-time deckhand. The dependable inshore plan is trout, redfish, flounder, and some black drum. The surf plan is whiting, flounder around cuts and washouts, pompano when the water is clean enough and the sand fleas cooperate. Around the passes, jetties, pier, and nearshore, Spanish mackerel are the action bite. Offshore, bottom fishing is worth a look with red snapper in the mix. The big idea this week is simple. Do not marry the first spot, date the first spot. If it has bait, moving water, and signs of life, maybe introduce it to your parents. If it has dirty water, no current, and your bait comes back wearing a salad, move on. Before we get into the bite, a quick thanks to our local sponsors supporting this week's report. Bama Beach Photography turns your day on the water into art your family keeps forever. Kids holding their first catch, family on the boat, grandparents on the beach, and moments you wish you could keep. Learn more at bamabeachphotography.com. And Dual Track. Dual Track helps Apple Watch and Garmin watch users see steps, activity, and weight progress in one clear daily view. Find Dual Track on the Apple App Store. I use it for my Garmin watch. And Safe Boat Marine Weather Forecast helps boaters answer the real question before leaving the dock. Should we go? When should we launch? And when should we come back? It turns wind, gusts, waves, radar, advisories, and timing into a clear boat brief with launch windows. Return by timing, confidence, and the main risk factors. Find the Safe Boat Boating app on the Apple App Store. Thanks to every sponsor helping keep the Gulf Coast Fishing Report moving each week. The 30-second weekend setup. Here's the fast version. Inshore is the best all-around starting point. Fish grass edges, oyster beds, docks, and protected water for speckled trout, redfish, flounder, and black drum. The beach is playable, but is condition dependent. Whiting are the steady target. Flounder are worth casting a bait near the bottom, around cuts, washouts, and deeper troughs. Pompano are possible, especially when clean water and sand fleas show up at the same time, which is basically the beach fishing version of getting all green lights on Beach Boulevard. Nearshore, Spanish mackerel are the quick action target. Fish the Gulf State Park Pier, Perdido Pass, Alabama Point, jetties, and tide rips. Offshore, bottom fishing is the best plan. Beeliner, scamp, triggerfish, grouper, and snapper are all in the picture. Weather-wise, Saturday and Sunday both show manageable wind and seas around 2 feet with thunderstorm chances. Surf is around 2 feet with moderate to high rip current. This week's fishing game plan. Plan A is inshore. This is your #1 option, especially with kids, guests, or somebody who packed 4 sandwiches with no patience. Start a round structure with bait and moving water. Plan B is the beach. Keep it simple. Fish the first trough for whiting before you try to cast a Cuba. Add a flounder bait around cuts and washouts. Keep pompano rigs ready for clean water. You will likely catch a wheelbarrow load of hardheads when the water's dirty. Plan C, Spanish mackerel. If birds are working, bait is spraying, and the water has a clean green look, get something shiny in the water and move it fast. Spanish do not want a lure that looks like it's taking a Sunday walk. They want panic and speed. Plan D is offshore bottom fishing. If you're making a run, do it with a plan, structure, bait, current, storm timing, and enough fuel margin that you're not doing the math at the end of the day like a nervous accountant. Moving on to inshore and back bay. Inshore is a strong lane this weekend. Current week reports point toward a good mixed bag pattern. Trout, redfish, flounder, and black drum have all been in the conversation. Around the eastern shore, trout have been strong around piers and structure when the incoming tide lines are up. Around marshes and protected water, redfish and black drum have been active enough to create double hookups when anglers find the right pocket. For back bay water, around Gulf shores, Orange Beach, Perdido Key, and Perdido start with grass edges, oyster beds, docks, bridge edges, and bayou mouths. Magic ingredients are bait, water movement, and ambush cover to make the restaurant worth eating at. For trout, have 3 looks ready: a top water early, a shrimp profile plastic, or a paddle tail on a light jig head, and a live shrimp on a popping cork when the fish are there but not aggressive. If trout are bumping the top water but not committing, don't take it personally. Trout are famous for the top water tease. For redfish, work current wash points, docks, oyster edges, and shorelines with bait. Live shrimp, soft plastics, and paddle tails all make sense here. For flounder, change gears. Flounder fishing is not a cardio class. It's a slow, low, and close to the bottom drag. Pause, soft plastic, shrimp, and live bait around sandy edges, dock shadows, and bridge pilings. If you feel a soft thump, give the fish a second before setting the hook. The important inshore adjustment this week is mobility. Some bay water still influenced by recent freshwater and stormwater runoff. If a shoreline looks dead, slide to cleaner protected water where the tide is doing the work. Moving on to the beach. The beach has a good opportunity this weekend. Whiting are the easiest fish to build a simple trip around. Small hooks, fish dead shrimp, fish bites, and a double drop rig will do a lot of work. Start close. Fish the trough that can hold plenty of fish, and that's the first trough. If you walk past it and immediately launch a cast into another zip code, there's a decent chance you just cast over dinner. For Pompano, the signal's a little bit better this week. You do need to find clean water, sand fleas, and manageable grass. Pensacola has some reports that have Pompano in the mix. One useful detail: medium olive-sized sand fleas have been preferable the last few days. If the fleas are too big, cut them down, make sure the bait's more manageable to add scent. Now let's talk about June grass and sargassum. If your rig comes back looking like it got dragged through a hay field, change it up. Move down the beach, shorten the cast, use a heavier pyramid sinker. For flounder in the surf, look for cuts in the sandbar, washouts where water drains off the beach. Keep the bait near the bottom and slow. Flounder are ambush fish. They're not chasing bait, moving like it owes somebody money. Keep a light casting setup handy too. Recent surf and pier notes included Spanish mackerel, bluefish, ladyfish, redfish, and black drum. If bait shows and the bottom rigs are slow, walking the beach with a spoon, small jig, or soft plastic can save your trip. Nearshore, Spanish mackerel are the best nearshore action bite this week. Spanish mackerel have been biting at Gulf State Park Pier and on the beach and jetties. Pensacola also had a Spanish mix bite with bluefish, ladyfish, and big reds when the bait was around. For Orange Beach and Perdido Key, watch the Alabama Point and Perdido Pass for current rips, birds, bait schools, and clean green water. Spanish are visual, fast, and rude. That's part of their charm. The lure box doesn't need to be complicated. Spoons, compact, shiny baits are all good. Retrieve fast. If your wrist is a little annoyed, speed up. Spanish mackerel like bait that look terrified. My favorite baits are from ES Lures. They're these casting metals. I always keep a couple on me when I'm walking the beach. You can cast these things a mile. It's a great lure. One safety note for the pass and jetties: do not let the feeding frenzy turn the boat into a group project with no supervisor. Current rocks, boat traffic, birds, bait, and excited anglers can all pile into the same place. Keep one person watching the water ahead. Offshore bottom fishing is the cleanest Gulf plan. This week, it's structure first. Reefs, wrecks, and rigs are where the plan starts. Reports pointed to productive bottom fishing around deeper water, including roughly 90-foot structure and longer runs around the 40-mile range. Beeliners, also called vermilion snapper, have been a strong part of the offshore story. Scamp, triggerfish, grouper, and red snapper are all in the bigger picture. Mahi and bonita are showing up out there when bait, water, and surface activity line up. One useful offshore tactic is smaller baits can matter. Thumbnail-sized squid pieces, squid tentacles, and small jigs can be better for beeliners and triggerfish than giant bait chunks that just get picked apart. Don't burn fuel just to feel productive. Work a group of nearby spots thoroughly. If you mark life and get bites, stay. If a number's dead, move. Storm timing matters. Saturday and Sunday both have 2-foot seas in the forecast, but thunderstorm chances are still there. Moving on to tides and timing, Pensacola has a Saturday high tide around 10:25 in the morning and a low tide at 10:04 Saturday night. Sunday, 11:07 in the morning and low at 10:53 Sunday night. Alabama Point and Orange Beach and Perdido Pass, they have Saturday high tide around 8:49 in the morning and low at 7:37 Saturday evening. Sunday, high tides at 9:05 in the morning, low tide 8:29 Sunday night. For trout and redfish, try to be in place before the water starts moving across grass edges, docks, oyster beds, and points. For flounder, moving water around drains, bridge edges, sand transitions, and washouts is the window. For Spanish, around the passes, tide movement can turn on bait fast. The tide advice this week is not fancy. Fish moving water, then move when it quits. Weekend weather forecast and safety. The weather's good enough to give us options, but not good enough to ignore. For nearshore Gulf, Saturday shows southwest winds around 10 to 15 knots with seas around 2 feet and a chance of thunder showers and storms. Sunday shows west winds 5 to 10 knots, seas around 2 feet, and a chance of afternoon storms. On the beach, surf's around 2 feet. Friday had a high rip current risk, and the weekend steps down to a moderate risk. Moderate does not mean harmless. If you're surf fishing with kids, guests, or anyone who wants to wade out just a little bit farther, please keep that in mind. Water temperatures in the lower 80s and the UV index is very high. Sunscreen, water, and shade are not optional. The Gulf Coast sun can cook an angler faster than a gas station heat lamp cooks a breakfast biscuit. Fuel and marina. Legendary Marina in Gulf Shores listed gas at $5.44.9 and diesel at $5.47.9 on their website this week. Confirm fuel type, price, and whether the dock is open when you expect to be there. Saving a few cents a gallon does not help if you add a long detour, miss the tide, or arrive after the pump's closed. Fuel planning's not glamorous. Neither's getting towed home while your friends pretend not to take pictures. The Angler Playbook. If you're fishing inshore, bring shrimp profile plastics, paddle tails, jig heads, popping corks, live shrimp, and one topwater lure for low light. Fish bait, moving water, and structure. If you're fishing the beach, bring small hooks, fresh dead shrimp, sand fleas, pompano rigs, pyramid sinkers, and enough patience to move when the grass ruins your setup. If you're hunting flounder, slow everything down. Bottom contact matters. Cuts, drains, pilings, and washouts are your targets. If you're chasing Spanish mackerel, bring spoons and extra leader. Retrieve fast and retie often. If you're heading offshore, think live bait. And for everyone, if the plan isn't working, adjust early. The fish don't give bonus points for stubbornness. That's it for this week's Gulf Coast Fishing Report from Bama Beach Life. One more thanks to Bama Beach Photography, Dual Track, and Safe Boat Marine Weather Forecast for supporting the report. Check the latest forecast, radar, and regulations before you go. Good luck this weekend. Fish smart, and if your bait comes back wearing more grass than a lawnmower, take the hint and move. I'll see you next week.